If you're wondering what the new button on the left side of your new iPhone is for, you're not alone. It's called the Action button, and it's an amazing and powerful tool, but most people aren't using it at all, or they're not using it right. Want to know how to use it properly? Stick around, I got you covered. I'm Dylan Stewart, the MacWhisperer, and in today's video, we're going to learn all about the new Action button. That's the button that replaced the ring silent toggle switch on the left side of new iPhones. It's a super powerful button that most people don't know the first thing about, but after today's lesson, you're going to know exactly how to use it and make the most out of it. Make sure to stick around for my MacWhisperer power tip, where I reveal a tool that you use with the Action button that can make it even better and even easier. And if you'd like even more information about how to use the Action button, make sure to download your free SmartGuide right from the description. Before we hop right in and get started, that's right, it's time for a little Apple history lesson. When the first iPhone was released in 2007, it had a little switch up at the top that could change it from silent mode to ring mode, so that you could easily silence your phone when you were in a movie theater or when you didn't want to hear phone calls ringing. The ring silent toggle switch was on every iPhone up to the iPhone 14. After the iPhone 14, Apple realized that most people didn't really use that button. These days, we've got other ways to prevent distractions, things like focus mode. And because most people either have their phone on silent or have it on ring most of the time, it became a useless piece of real estate. There's something important about physical buttons. When we're looking at a phone that has virtual buttons and a screen, you have to look down to see what you're clicking. But when you have a physical button, you can press it without even looking at the phone, which is where the ring silent toggle switch didn't really do much, because yes, you could turn it on to silent or you could turn it on to ring, but that was it. When Apple realized most people weren't using that button anymore, they replaced it with a button that you push in instead of a toggle switch. They called it the Action button, and the Action button was given all sorts of amazing functionality. But as usual, when Apple makes something that amazing, they don't bother to tell anyone about it, and so no one really understands how to use it. People were used to the ring and silent toggle switch. Some people used it all the time. So when Apple replaced it with the Action button, they set up the default setting for the Action button to be ring and silent. And many people have left that on. But there are some problems with that. Unlike the toggle switch, which would toggle back and forth and would be very easy to know when you were on silent mode or ring mode, the Action button gets pushed in, and it's easy to accidentally push it in when you're trying to turn up the volume, since it's right above the volume keys. Sometimes when people go to take a screenshot, they'll accidentally press the Action button and trigger silent mode. So many people are accidentally turning silent mode on or off all the time, and suddenly they're in a movie theater and their phone rings and they're embarrassed, or they're home waiting for an important phone call and they don't ever hear it. Having your Action button set to the default silent mode is fine as long as you pay attention to it and you know how to know whether you're on silent mode or on ring mode. But what I'm going to recommend is that you explore some of the other ways that you can turn on or off silent mode, and instead use the Action button for some of the powerful and amazing tools we're going to talk about in just a few moments. Let me show you a couple of ways to silence your phone without using the switch. The first one is to simply come into your control panel by pulling down from the upper right-hand corner of your screen like this. And when you do, you'll probably see the silent button. You'll notice on mine it's lit up because I'm on silent mode, and it shows the little bell icon with a slash through it. If I tap on that, it's going to put me into ring mode. It no longer has the slash on there, and that means when the phone rings or a notification comes in, I'm going to hear it. If you can't find your silent button on the control panel, go into edit mode by pressing and holding at the bottom of your screen and click where it says add a control. Come up to the search bar and type in the word silent. It'll pop up right here, and you can tap right on that and add it into your control panel so you can find it easily in the future. Don't forget, with the new control panel, you can resize many buttons, making them easier to see and easier to find. In addition to using the control panel to find silent mode, you can also use focus modes. Focus modes includes the standard Do Not Disturb mode, as well as several other programmable and customizable focus modes that can help your phone not make noises when you don't want it to. The problem with the silent button is that if a phone call comes in, most phones are still going to vibrate. If a text comes in, your screen is still going to light up. So silent mode is really not as powerful as Do Not Disturb or the other focus modes. To set up a focus mode, come into your settings and come down to where it says Focus, and you can customize Do Not Disturb or any of the other modes. Once you've set up the proper focus mode, you can activate it from the control panel by clicking right here and choosing Do Not Disturb or any other mode. But in addition to that, you can actually schedule your Do Not Disturb mode. By coming into this section right here and coming to any one of the focus modes, you can come down to add a schedule. And the schedule can be a time-based schedule like turn on Do Not Disturb from 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. or it can be turned on at a certain location like when you arrive at the movie theater. And the best way to trigger Do Not Disturb is by your voice. By pressing and holding the Siri button on the side of your phone, you can simply say, turn on Do Not Disturb. And it activates it, which in my opinion is even easier than the old toggle switch or the action button. So now that we know how to silence your phone without needing the action button, let's see what else the action button can do. The action button can be set up with a number of different features and tools. You control them by going into your settings section right here and coming down to where it says Action button. We start with silent mode, which is absolutely fine for you to use if you are constantly setting silent mode on or off. But remember, rather than the toggle button, which is easy to control, you might accidentally click this. To trigger silent mode, just press and hold on the action button for a couple of moments, and you'll notice it turned on to ring mode, or it turned on to silent mode, just like that. Now let's swipe one option over to the right, and let's talk about focus modes. As we said earlier, focus modes are an even better way to silence your phone, and it can be used on a schedule or it can be manually triggered. If you'd prefer to use Do Not Disturb instead of simply silencing your phone, you can click where it says All Focus Modes and choose the one you like. Now, as soon as you press and hold that action button, it will either turn on or off that focus mode just like this. Now it's off, and now it's back on. You can tell up in the dynamic island as it changes. Let's swipe right and check out the next option. Over here, we've got the option of using the action button to quickly open up your camera. As I said earlier, physical buttons are extremely valuable on the phone because you don't need to look at them in order to perform the action. How often has it happened to you that you pulled your phone out of your pocket to take a picture, but fumbled around finding the camera and missed the shot? By simply setting the camera mode here, you can use the action button to take all kinds of different pictures. You've got a selection down below that chooses what the default camera mode should be when you press the action button. I'm going to turn it on to selfie mode, and now when I press and hold the action button, the camera opens right up and here I am. The camera button is one of the most popular options for the action button. It's so popular that when Apple created the iPhone 16, they gave that phone a dedicated camera button. So if you have an iPhone 16, setting your action button here is just a waste because you've already got a dedicated camera button on the bottom right side of your phone. So let's move over to the right and let's see what other options we've got. Here we've got a brand new option that's a part of Apple Intelligence. It's called Visual Intelligence. And what it does when you trigger it with your action button is it opens up the camera and connects you to both Google and ChatGPT. By clicking on the search button in the lower right-hand corner here, you can do a Google search allowing you to purchase this book from any online seller. But if you want more information, and it's not about purchasing the book, you can use the ChatGPT button that you see on the left-hand side here. When you do, it will take a look at what the camera sees and give you some basic information about it. If you have additional questions, you can come in and ask it anything, such as a question like, what's the main idea in this book? And by clicking the send button, it goes to ChatGPT and delivers you all the information you need without even having to open up the book. It's a great and powerful tool, but if you have an iPhone 16, the camera button on the bottom right side can already trigger visual intelligence by pressing and holding it. So once again, with an iPhone 16, this is not a great setting for your action button, and we're going to move over to the next tool. Here we've got the flashlight. And if you want to talk about a useful tool, going back again to the idea that a physical button is more valuable because you don't have to look at it, think about a situation where you're in the dark and trying to find your keys. Rather than struggling to figure out where your flashlight is on your phone and trying to find the control panel and trying to open it up, you could set your action button to the flashlight and then a simple press on the action button and let there be light, making it easy for you to see whatever you're looking for. Now let's move over one more tool to voice memos. If you're one of those people that is constantly having great ideas and being afraid that you're going to lose them, not knowing how to capture them while they're fresh in your mind, the Voice Memo app is a phenomenal tool that makes it super easy for you to record your voice, record a song, record an idea, even when driving. And by triggering it with the action button, it's even easier. Just a simple press, and it begins recording your voice so you can capture that idea, that song, that script concept, anything that you want to talk about. When you're done with your voice recording, press and hold again to stop the recording, and it will immediately be placed in your Voice Memos app. That's a great tool to trigger with the action button, especially if you do lots of voice recordings and need to capture ideas quickly. But it's not the only tool we've got left. Let's swipe to our right again and look at the Recognize Music tool. Many of you might recognize that icon as the Shazam icon. This is the awesome tool that allows you to identify music anywhere in the world. If you're listening to a radio program, or if you walk into somebody's house and they're playing music and you want to know what it is, all you have to do is press and hold your action button and it will start listening to the music that's playing and help you quickly identify it. It's a fantastic tool for anyone who loves discovering new music. For those of you who don't know, Apple purchased Shazam several years ago and have integrated it into Apple Music in a number of places so you can not only identify a song, but purchase and download it right away. That's a great use for the action button, but let's swipe over to the right again to talk about the translation function. Let's pretend that we're taking a trip to France. The last time I spoke French was in high school, so my French is a little rusty. So I'm going to press and hold my action button and ask a question in English that it will translate into French, making it even easier for me to communicate when I'm traveling. How do I get to the airport from here? By going into the Translate app itself, you can choose any language, and when you press the action button, it will listen to your voice, capture your words, and give you a translation into that language. It's another super helpful tool to use connected to the action button, making it easy to translate anything you need into any language. Let's swipe over to the right again, and let's talk about the magnifier. The magnifier is a fantastic tool. If you've ever been in a dark restaurant struggling to see the menu with its tiny letters, you know the struggle of having to turn on your phone's flashlight, and sometimes you might even turn on the phone's camera. But the Magnifier app is even better than using your flashlight and your camera. By turning on the magnifier to the action button and pressing and holding on the action button, you'll open up your camera with the ability to zoom in or out on any images. Look at that tiny print there and look at how much easier it is to read with the magnifier. You can swipe up on this bottom bar here in order to capture what you're looking at so that you can scroll around and find everything you need without having to squint, without having to use your phone's camera, and without having to use your flashlight. Many times when people use their phone's camera to view small print or a menu, they accidentally take pictures and leave those pictures in their photo roll, never ever deleting them. That won't happen when you use the magnifier, because when you capture an image, as soon as you click close, it just deletes it, making it one of the easiest ways to see fine print without having to strain your eyes or fill up your photo library. So as you can see, the action button has a ton of amazing tools, but there's one more thing I want to share with you. Before I drop my MacWhisperer power tip, if you've already had an aha moment and learned something new about your action button, give this video a thumbs up. That makes it so much easier for other people to see it. And if you've got a question, a comment, if you want to tell me how you're using the action button, drop it down in the comments section. I love my YouTube community and I love to hear from you guys. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, well, let's turn the action button on and let's click that subscribe button and that notify bell so you're always alerted whenever I drop new content. And with that being said, let's press our action button in and trigger the power tip. This power tip is a doozy. We're going to talk about 3 sections inside the action button settings that can allow you to customize your action button like never before. But don't tune out until I deliver the 3rd power tip, because this one is a hands down game changer. We start with the controls setting. The controls setting is very much like your control panel here, with all sorts of tools you can add to it. By tapping on Choose a Control, you'll see a whole menu of powerful options. Are you someone who's constantly scrambling for a calculator? Consider turning on the calculator with your action button. Are you someone who needs to have ambient music in order to focus? Turn on one of these ambient music settings. Do you want an easy way to connect to Siri or ChatGPT? Do you want an easy way to open up a timer or a stopwatch? All of these separate controls can be triggered by the action button from this section. So as soon as you come in and you set up calculator as your desired control, when you press and hold that action button, immediate calculations without having to hunt for that pesky little app. The controls section has a ton of powerful tools, and it's useful for all sorts of things like setting alarms, setting timers, or opening up specific apps. Take a look around and explore to find out which of these controls works best for you. And now, let's swipe over to our right into the accessibility section. Accessibility tools are so powerful in the iPhone. They can do all sorts of things like read your screen to you or turn on voice commands. You can trigger many of these accessibility tools right by the action button by coming into this section and choosing a feature. Here you'll find all sorts of powerful accessibility tools. The ones I recommend exploring is the zoom section, which can help you zoom in or out in a particular part of your phone. The voice control section, which can allow you to control your phone without ever touching it. It's like Siri, but on steroids. You can have it do anything. When I'm watching videos like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, I'll turn on voice control so that I can swipe up to the next video without even having to hold the phone. And coming just a little further down, you're going to notice live captions, which will show live captions for all of your apps. This can be really helpful if you're a little hard of hearing because it works in all sorts of apps, like on the FaceTime app or even on the YouTube app. It does its best to give you live captions of whatever you're listening to. And the last tool to talk about in the accessibility section is the background sounds tool. The background sounds tool is another way to give yourself ambient noise so that you can focus on your project without getting distracted. So those are some of the best accessibility tools. And now we've talked about almost all of the tools that exist, except for the granddaddy of them all, which is the shortcut tool. If you haven't started playing with Siri shortcuts yet, you're missing out. This is a powerful tool that can allow you to create all sorts of complex and complicated routines which stack multiple actions on top of each other without you having to even lift a finger. It's easy to explore it by swiping up and coming into the Siri Shortcuts app. Here it is right here. On the bottom right side, you're going to notice a gallery where other people have put all sorts of shortcuts that they've created, like a morning summary or a haiku, like the ability to start a Pomodoro timer or turn on NPR News. You can make a meme from Siri Shortcuts or share your availability with some of your friends. There are tons of tools, and as you play with them, you'll learn some of the capabilities. I'm not going to get into how to make a Siri shortcut here, but I'm going to talk about one of my Siri shortcuts that I recently created. When I come home, I have a smart lock on my door. So I want to unlock the door. I want to make sure the lights in my house are set to a good level, and I want to play some music so that when I walk in the door, I feel welcomed. And on top of all of that, I also want to send a text to my wife letting her know I'm home in case she's in the other house or out running errands. And I've done all of that by creating a simple Siri shortcut. By pressing on the three dots in the upper right corner of any Siri shortcut, you can see the different actions it's going to perform. It's going to unlock the front door first, then it's going to set my HomePod in the living room to play my favorite playlist, and then it's going to turn the lights in the living room to 50%. Then it's going to send a text that says, "Hey honey, I'm home," to my wife. It's easy to do and easy to set up. And when you set up the action button on the shortcuts section, you can come down below here and choose any of the shortcuts you like. There's my homecoming shortcut right there. And then by simply pressing and holding on the action button, it unlocks my front door, starts playing my favorite playlist, turns the lights to the exact right setting, and lets my wife know I'm home. You'll notice it running the shortcut in the dynamic island up above. And in a few moments, the lights will be set, my wife will know that I'm home, and the music will be playing to greet me. Easy and simple. But there's just one more powerful power tip that we're going to drop right here. The biggest flaw with the action button is that it's got all of these amazing functions and features that you can use, but you can only use one of them at a time. So if you've got it set to voice memo, you're missing out on the flashlight. And if you've got it set on Shazam, you're missing out on translate. It's a huge problem. Except that someone who's much smarter than I am solved that problem by creating their own Siri shortcut called my Super Action Button. And I've shared the link to this shortcut in the description. By using this powerful shortcut and turning it onto your action button here, you can turn the action button into a fully functional productivity powerhouse. Simply pressing down on the action button gives you all sorts of options, from silencing your phone, taking a screenshot, taking a video, running some code, turning on your flashlight, checking for passwords, opening a note, creating an event, creating a reminder, going to your wallet, your calculator, your hotspot, and so much more. Once you tap into the real power of Siri shortcuts, the action button can be used to do whatever you like. So that's what we've got for today's lesson, all about how to take full advantage of your action button. Don't forget to stop by the description to grab that Siri shortcut and to download your free SmartGuide. This SmartGuide is going to give you step-by-step directions about everything that we talked about today, making it even easier for you to master your Apple devices. I hope you learned a ton today, but don't forget, there's always more to learn. Check out this video over here for even more amazing tips and tricks about how to get the most out of your Apple devices. I'm Dylan Stewart, the Mac Whisperer, and I'll see you in the comments.